It's all about citrus here, folks. We did yesterday the kumquats, showed you a little bit of nose. Well, it's pretty much the same principle with all citrus trees. And I'm standing here next to, which one is this? Afore mandarin. I can never pronounce that correctly. Look at the amount of mandarins on it. So when this was dying, and this is the old foliage down here that was dying, all the yellowing, you know, discolouring, and I told you in the past, when they get to this sort of stage, they really don't hold their, they won't really green up that easily, and sometimes it actually keeps travelling, and I'm noticing it's still travelling a little bit through. So that's an indicator to tell me there's so much fruit on this tiny little tree. That's because I fed it some superfood and black grit, and that's what happens. That it's washed through because we've been watering heavily on the hot days, and being a grow bag, it does dry out a lot quicker. So the energy is going to the fruit, and it's causing the foliage to yellow off because it needs a top up. We've got to feed the soil. So the tree's hungry. And the microbes are depleting, and there's a bit of kikuyu trying to jump in there, or it's actually jumped in here. I've been pulling it out. Now, these trees have been in these pots, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years, I think. We've had a few top-ups on them. We've had a couple of transplants. Now, they're not going to stay in here, definitely. They need to go in the ground, and I haven't quite worked out where I want to put them, how I want to plant them. I'm thinking about big planters in the ground and, you know, putting concrete edge so I don't have kikuyu jumping in. But for now, all I've got to do is keep them alive, keep feeding them. So these need a top dress, as we did yesterday with the kumquats, and we'll clean them up. So before I start top dressing this, just imagine I've done that. I want to go to the other trees because they're all showing different signs of happiness and a little bit of sadness. Come along. This one here's got a lot of cupping going on. It hasn't quite settled down yet. It's ready for another feed. We've got a little bit of rust. So let me explain this here. This is where I want your opinion as well. If you're watching this and you can see what's going on and you think you got an answer, love you to share it, because at the end of the day, it's all guessing games. The cupping normally means dehydration, not enough moisture getting through there. The roots aren't breathing well. They need a bit of hydration. Sorry, later just looked at something and I'm trying to work out what she's smelling. I don't want it to get bitten. That's okay. Come back to me. Good girl. So when you're looking at the cupping like this, normally it'll happen, and I'll show you the mandarin, the other one, that was dehydrating, and that's because it was thirsty, and that's what happens. But this one here also looks like it's had too much water going through it, you know, for long periods of times. And it reminds me of back to the days when we had the 33, 38, 35 continuously, and I'm constantly watering it, and I wasn't topping it up with any liquid fertilizer, so I could just replenish and revitalize the life in the soil. So I'm hydrating the mix at the bottom there. At the same time, it's washing out, and that's what typically happens with potted plants. So they need to be fed on a more regular basis. You can go monthly if you like, even weekly if you're that pedantic and capable and, you know, up for the challenge. At least once a month. And what I'm going to do with this is top dress it, and this one's going to get at least about an inch or two of top dress, so the mulch is going to disappear, whereas the other ones, I don't think, well, that one there, not as much. This, I think, let's have a look at the soil. Yeah, look. Wow, okay. I'm opening up a can of worms here. It's dry. It's dry. So it is thirsty, and it's hungry because there's no vibrancy in the leaf. You know, the colour's not quite strong there. It's a little bit yellow. So too much watering and then dehydration causes cupping. That's my conclusion so far. So we're going to top dress this and deep water it so we can get the hydration down below. So that's this one. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Well, with this one here, we've got fruit on it. We've got a little bit of discolouring on top. It's not cupping, so it's not thirsty. But I reckon it's also weather. We've had a lot of wind through here, so this tree's copped a bit of a beating as well on this side here when it's been blowing. And it's the last 3 days it's been coming from the southeast or southwest direction, and it's been quite atrocious. It literally stopped about half an hour ago. So that's been copping a lot of wind. This is starting to yellow off, so early stages of it. You can see the discoloration in the stem as well. So that's not a happy stem. That's really struggling to get those nutrients up to there. So we need to populate the life in the soil again here. Typical example. Oh, I remember this one also had, mate, it's had a few things. Seriously, this has been ring bugged forever by the bloody rabbits. And a close look. Yeah, we've still got scale in this. I haven't treated it. I told you about this last time. Yeah, there's scale all over it here, all the way up there. And if you can't see the ants walking on my hand, they're actually crawling all over me. They're going to go up my arm here. There we are. When I turn the cameras off here, I actually got to do some work. A little bit of Glad wrap. We had this stuff on it in the past. We used to use tape. That's masking tape, and then we'd put the tree guard on top of that. But I've since, gone up a notch. I'm using Glad wrap from the kitchen, wrapping the whole thing, and that actually helps the moisture, retain a little bit of moisture in there. So it's time to do that. I've got to wrap this up and then put the paste on top. That'll suffocate stop the ants from going up and down and feeding the nest. And then a couple of sprays with oil should clean this up. I'm also tempted to cut this back, and I'll tell you where. You can see in the middle, see how we've got some good growth coming in the middle here? So that's nice and healthy. And in fact, if we pay close attention to the branches that are yellowing on the tips, similar to what the kumquat tree did that I showed you the second one, the smaller one. So I'm going to cut these off. I'm going to reduce the size. There's no fruit on this. We've got growth coming on just here. Look at that. There's a little bit of growth there. Be it all sort of squashed and deformed a little bit. There is vitality in these branches, but not at the tips. It's actually trying to start from the base again. So we're going to assist this and take all this off. Again here, there's growth coming down there from the same branch down there. We can keep that, but it's above the main foliage line. So let's just take this stem off. No fruit, don't need it. Oh, there's one here. But look at this stem, how yellow it is. That will never recover, really. I've never seen a citrus tree recover when it's gone like that. So I'm going to take it off just down to here. Sacrifice that. That looks like crap too. Look at it. If you think you're going to feed that up, you're dreaming. So just cut it off. Let's go around. The one we started off with, this one here. I love you, mandarin, but sorry. Sometimes you're going to have to make a sacrifice like that, folks. A couple of more leaves here. Cut that off. I'm going to make an excuse and saying that was growing too tall. And there's another fruit here. Yeah, I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to take this one off. That's a lot better. It's a lot better. Still a couple of yellow leaves. Top dress with our superfood planting mix, sorry. And that should come good. Oh, folks. And like I said to you before, these trees in these grow bags, when I first did it, I said about 4 to 5 years approximately, and I think we've reached that sort of maturity with these trees now. So they're going to keep struggling, especially with the grow bags that they're in, and they need to be repotted. I've repotted 2, and you're going to see them shortly. All I'm doing now is cutting off all the dead wood, and this tree needs to be hydrated, needs to be fertilized. They're hungry. They're just hungry. It's amazing how quickly they can turn, especially after a hot season that we had in summer with no bloody rain, and relying on me to remember to come out here and water it on top of all the other bloody plants we have in the garden. So we've kept them alive, and they're going to keep staying alive up and down until we get them into the ground. Let's enjoy some good ones. And this mandarin was nearly dead, and now it's coming back. And it needs a top dress, and see how it's facing this way? It's reaching out for the sun because it gets no bloody sunlight in the morning from this huge conifer. So what I need to do is to get a good, wholesome balance on this. Hopefully I can turn it. It's bloody heavy. Oh, no, it's not. It's taken to the ground. That is dry as well. If I don't do the job myself, it never gets done. Have a look at this beauty, huh? Maybe it's time we harvested some of this fruit. This is way overripe. Oh, I'm going to take the whole stem off. Bugger it. Grapefruit. Nope, that's ripe. These are ripe. I don't know, I don't like grapefruit. Do you like grapefruit? You do? No, you don't like it? I'll make a dessert out of this. This tree's doing pretty well. Again, leaning for the sun. I'm going to try and turn this around. Okay, that's it. It's like when you go to the beach, folks, and you suntan. You don't just tan the one side, you've got to rotate and tan the other side, get a good balance. So now we want it to grow out this way. We'll come back and monitor this and see what happens in the next few weeks, eh? I guarantee it's going to lean over. And the lucky last, the bloody lemon tree. It's constantly being dug over. Look at this. Bloody birds. Bloody birds. Well, there must be something in here. Let me have a look. I don't think the roots are grown out this far yet. What do we got? We've got a baby worm there. There's a couple of worms in here. You can't see them, it's getting a bit dark, but there are. They're not big, but there are worms. So this tree's moist, but we have got the bloody leaf miner all over this as well. All right, so we remove these leaves and start again. Now I'm opted to just do that. Cut the leaves off, leave the nodes on the side. Hopefully we get new shoots coming up. Just cut off all the infected ones. They're okay. It was just these ones here, I think, and this one here. That one, it's rolled over. There's a typical sign that there's damage being caused here, so you can't see anything in there, but you can see the lines, so that's got to come off. And this one cupping as well. And this one down here, look, I'm going to end up taking all the bloody leaves off. And another one down here. Anyway, that just caused the tree to push on more leaves. Look at this, we've got fruit. Now here, remember I told you, if the tree's not happy, it'll ripen them up real quick and peel them off. They're not going to fall off yet. I've got to take them off. They're ripened. Now, who's ever seen a lemon that small? I'm sure many of us have, but they're useless. So a little bit of a twist and they come off. Just like that. Now folks, top dress, a good deep watering, and hopefully they manage their way through the next couple of seasons until I work my way around where I'm going to plant them. If you've got citrus trees, start looking after them. Time to feed them, time to clean them, time to look after them from disease and pests attacking them. And give them a good deep watering. That's what they need. And clean them up from any pests and diseases. Now, if you need any of our great products and shipping's a bit high for you, well, we've got about 10 outlets or so across Victoria. You can find them on our website on the click and collect page, outlets page. You can shop, click and collect and pick them up from the outlets directly. They're there to provide a service to save everybody costs. We're trying to keep our prices down and the products as close to your door as possible. It's all at vasilisgarden.com. So from me, Vasily, Maresi, see you tomorrow.